Hello and welcome to the Cherry Blossom Cafe podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Williams.
This show is all about uncovering life's mysteries about money. If you ever wondered how other people manage their money or the money mistakes they've made, well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We'll uncover these mysteries and more. And on this episode, we talk to Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas. Natalie is the founder of Think Yourself Academy. She's a speaker, master coach, and #1 best-selling author of 7 books on wellness and empowerment. Natalie accumulated over 25 years of experience in sales, all while she was actively energizing the fitness industry for over 30 years as a fitness instructor. Personal trainer and nutrition and wellness specialist, she combines her wellness and sales strengths with neuroscience and the brain programming processes she practices as a master practitioner in NLP. She retrains your brain to allow you to take charge of your own life and get inspired from within. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm very excited.
It's great to have you here. So we always like to start with the first question being, what was your first job?
Okay, that's super fun. So my mom had a printing business. So as probably like a 5 or 6 years old, I was child labor in my parents' business. I wasn't really paid at this time. I was just actually babysitting in the corner and doing some drawing. So it was not a real job.
Yeah.
Now, my first paid job outside of the parents' business, I was teaching fitness. So I started to teach for the leisure in Saint-Raymond, a small town that I'm from in Quebec City. And I was actually... that's when I started to have a very good relationship with money because I was paid $20 an hour, which was a fortune in these days.
And how old were you when you
I was 13 years old.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. So by the time I was 15, I was teaching 20 classes a week. Every night I was teaching for 4 hours, and on the weekend, Saturday morning as well. So 20 hours a week at $20 an hour, I was rich. And then I started to invest actually in my mother's printing business and my brother as well. We was working. We had a very good work ethic, I guess. My parents, there was good incentive for us to make our own money, and my brother started to invest as well. So all three of us built the printing to a good size, like about 20 employees, and then we invested in another printing business in Quebec City. We later had like 50 employees, so it was we had the two businesses later on, and always teaching fitness on the side. So I continue to do that. So I've been still teaching fitness on the side of everything I do as my strategy to stay healthy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that tells us a little bit about how you got started in your business. But once you started to gain some momentum in your career, how did you handle your wealth? How did you handle your money?
So the first time that I made the most money, really, well, as I started to make money as a kid, I was forced to put some money aside. So I had to take RSPs, and I thought it was, for in another world, really, because it seemed to be so far away. Mm-hmm. And now I'm very lucky that I have started to do that. And then I was taught that I could spend some of it. I had to put some in an account that was not an RSP, but that was for when things happened, and then you need something, you need to have some money saved. But when I really had a big boost was when we actually sold the business. Mm-hmm. So we did sell the business, made a whole bunch of money. And that's when, after that, I didn't really have to work. And I started to work for a friend in sales for fun, and then moved to Ontario with that same job. Met my husband, still continued the fitness, and then realized as I was helping people in the fitness industry that I wanted to help more, and that's when I discovered neuroscience, brain programming, and then I started my own life coaching business. Mm-hmm. So that was about 10 years ago. Yeah. But what did I do with that big momentum, that big amount of money? And it's interesting because my brother and I both had a different reaction. We both made some money as young adult. And my brother bought an expensive car and the biggest sound system ever and hundreds of CDs and different things. I did buy a car, more reasonable, I have to say. And I did save a whole bunch of money as well. And I did.
Good for you.
So when we moved to Ontario and when we got married, I was actually able to buy real estate and to buy my own place as opposed to rent. So that was a big moment for me. Is with this real estate. Then when we sold the condo in Ontario, then could buy when we moved to BC, I was able to use this money. So I always had this. The money we made on real estate, I was always able to leverage that after. So as soon as you've got your one big chunk of money, if you do something well with it, as opposed to, and my brother I love him dearly. We had both a great bringing up, and I don't know. I think he's done well for himself after, but I don't think that he has anything left from that lump sum of money that we had when we sold the business, because he did not invest the same way.
Yeah, and that reminds me that in many families with siblings or even spouses, one is a saver and one's a spender. And so even just the opposites are often attract or often are in the same family. Simply because it's a contrast, you know, and that happens often with siblings. So
exactly.
So that seems to happen with you and your brother.
Exactly.
So you had some fantastic foundations, and you had made some really great decisions. So then, were there any money mistakes that you made along the way that you would say, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I would have learned before"?
Absolutely. Well, one of them I did before buying in Ontario. I did rent for a year and a half, and I was paying $2,400 a month in rent. It was downtown Toronto, great neighborhood at Yonge and Eglinton, and somehow I think I should have not. And did I learn from it? No, because when we moved here after, I rented again for a year and a half in White Rock on the beach, because I didn't want to buy anything on the beach, and we rented a place for a year and a half again, and I thought, oh gosh, what a waste of money. Like all this. Other mistakes is to think that a certain amount of money is a lot of money, even if it means a lot and it looks like a lot. It goes out really quick if you don't have anything come in. And that thought that I did not have to work, I was making this up, really. Because somehow, even if you're good with your money and you're paying attention to your expenses and everything, you kind of need to have your money doing something for you. Because if it's just sitting there in an account, it's just... It's a one-way out, and then there's nothing that comes back in. And I realized that the one big advice that my mom used to tell me all the time, because we were brainwashed as kids to be super positive, right? So every time I would not be able to afford something, my mom would always say, don't cut your expenses, increase your income. So she kind of built that entrepreneur mind as to, okay, so my expenses, once you have a logical mind that it's not to buy some things that are irrelevant or superficial. When you need something and you want the money to buy something important to you, that instead of cutting expenses, because if all your expenses are accounted for and they're reasonable, you shouldn't have to cut your expenses. You should increase your income instead and find ways to make more money. So I've always found ways to make money, and I'm thankful for that way of thinking, as opposed to teach me that money is a bad thing and you always have to cut and be broke and live paycheck to paycheck. I was taught instead to think that you can always make more, and then you can find ways to make more money. And she built kind of an entrepreneur mind into mine to continually find resources and ways to make more money somehow. So I have a very good relationship with money for that reason somehow.
Yeah, good for you. I think it's a really important point too that you made about money and having it just sitting there not doing very much. Because we think many times we think that by just leaving the money in the bank it's safe. But it's actually going to go backwards. One, if we start spending it. Two, it's going to go backwards just because of taxes and inflation. And if we don't have it working harder for us, we're not really protecting it. Yeah. So that's a really good point too.
Yeah. I remember my older uncle used to tell me, oh my gosh, when I retired, I had $100,000, like, wow, that was a lot of money. Well, guess what? $100,000 right now, like, it's not like you're going to go for 40 years on this. Like, you can't retire at 40 years old if you've got $100,000. Like, it's only going to go so far if you're not doing something with this money, right? So you really have to invest it wisely to make your money make money for you. It's not an only. Otherwise, if it's just sitting in an account, it's not really money. It's not doing anything.
It's not working for you. Not getting your money working for you.
Yeah.
So speaking of getting your money working for you, what then is your investment philosophy?
So I do. I'm an entrepreneur, so I do have to set money aside for taxes, for GST, just for that, and I do have to set up money aside for savings. So my strategy is automation.
Good one.
So I do remember the envelope system. So I was cashing up my paycheck, and I all my teenage years, because I was making a lot of money. So I was going to the bank, putting it in different envelopes, and one of them was for fun and one of them was for saving. And I would take this envelope and now go back to the bank with it and deposit this. So now I don't have to do anything. So my money goes into my account, and then from this account there's a fixed amount that goes in RSPs. There's a fixed amount that goes into a fund saving account for all our holidays. So we just spent a month in Spain, and we didn't have to spend extra money for that. We had it in an account because
planned for it.
It comes out of our monthly money, and then there's money that goes into a different account for, at the end of the year, I have to pay for the taxes and all the different things that so it's all automated. I don't need to think about it. So that's the main my main strategy is to have everything automated, because otherwise awesome. Gosh.
Yes, exactly. I know it's hard to do when we're busy and living busy lives, to have to then rethink it. So do you what's your take on philanthropy?
That's the life purpose. That's how it works. I do a lot of different things. I work with children in Haiti. So we have there's one of the association that my heart is with. It's called Heart to Heart in Grand Goave in Haiti. So we go there and work with orphans. So I always do some fundraising for them. Now closer to here, I was just last week just at the hospice in White Rock. They working with children who've lost a parent. So because I thought I had such a good experience with the orphans in Haiti, and then I came home and I thought there's orphans here that I can help. I work with Night Shift as well as an organization that helps street people and then we go there to serve meal. I don't serve food anymore. I just walk and talk to them. So that's on Saturday nights. So I just find that there's always a giving back, and with the training that I have, with the neuroscience that I do, I would like to believe that it makes a difference, even if it's providing them with 1 hour of having a conversation with somebody, because everybody ignores them, and people have all the different stories. They all have a different. We don't know why they're there. Not everybody is a bad person, really not. Everybody is good. That's my belief, and then I do a lot of giving through. Actually, my philosophy, because you asked my philosophy, is everybody that asks me. So I have lots of friends. They do. I'm doing a Terry Fox run, and I'm doing the Sporting Life this for this thing, or I'm doing the ride for AIDS, and I'm doing this for breast cancer, and I'm doing this for cervix cancer, and I give to all of them, everybody that asks me, really, and I have different amounts. So I already know my amount. So for a very close friend, that's this amount, and for somebody that I know of, and then they're just sending me the email as part of the 100 emails that they're sending, I'll give a certain amount. So I do give back a lot because
so you give, and that's what's so awesome about your giving is that you give both of your time and, as I often say, your treasure, so you give both of your and your talent, because of your work that you do in coaching and helping people.
Exactly.
Which is superb. Thank you. So I know you have stepkids. And have you talked to them about, their financial planning and their finances? And, what have you shared with them?
Okay. I do also have a niece. She's 16 now, and we have a grandson.
Awesome.
My stepkids are older, so this is not something I was not in the picture when they were young to start bringing them on board as children. Now, I find that right now is when they need it the most because now they're older. So I have managed the money for our middle son for a couple years that his paycheck he didn't even have access to them. And we had to redistribute them, and we would just even go buy gift cards to the grocery store, the drugstore, and the coffee shop. And that's how he was managing his money for a while. And he's managing everything on his own now. And then I was just doing a budget for my stepdaughter actually 2 weeks ago. So I do that. And then for my niece and my grandson, we do have I want to say it in French, the RESP.
So saving for their education.
Exactly. So we do that. But I remember the first year our grandson was born, we would give him toys and things. And then we started to give him money when he was a little bit older. He's 13 now. And we started to give him money, and we would always, let's say we would give him $80. We would give him 4 20s. And we would say, this one, you're going to save it. This one, you're going to spend it on something fun. This one, you're going to keep it to spend it and make and earn some money to make to increase it to buy something bigger, right? Later. And then this $20, you're going to give it. You're going to choose a foundation or an organization, and you're going to donate it under your name. So we've very often given money that way and split it in 4 equal parts and say, okay, this one you save it. It's for your long-term saving. This one you spend it. This one you save it to spend it on something bigger. And then this one you can just donate it and choose an organization or somebody that needs it, or bring your friends to whatever, right? So you had to spend it for somebody else than himself, right?
Perfect. Great messages. And then when they learn those messages when they're young, they just take them for granted, which is awesome. He'll always have that with him. Well done. That's great. So a couple of just final questions is, if you were talking to your younger self and looking back, would you give her any different money advice now than you'd had at the time?
Yes.
And what might that be?
Of course. So one advice that I wish I had given myself as I was this rich kid, my parents didn't have any money. That's the thing. My parents were not rich, and the printing business was, just trying to, as an entrepreneur, it takes years before you actually make money, especially when you have equipment that's worth $1 million for a big press, and you have to reinvest, and those equipment are expensive. So you have to run a business with 70 employees. It's not like we were rolling on gold, not at all. But I had money because I had been working a lot as a fitness instructor, and it was just piling up in my accounts. And I remember buying my first sewing machine when I was 14.
Wow.
By myself. I was so proud of this. It was my big investment, right? And then I started to make my clothes, and I was so proud of myself, buying stuff all the time. And I remember buying so much stuff because I could. And not even think about it. You know, there's a pair of boots, they're $300. Well, I can afford it, so I'll buy them. And not think that it's not making any sense. Are you crazy? Like, this is dumb. Like, a t-shirt should not be $1,000. This is not okay, even if you can afford it. So to start, I wish that I had found out way earlier that all these things were not giving me confidence. I had the confidence all along. I did not need to wear these expensive brands or these or that much clothes, as a matter of fact. So I've changed so much in the amount of stuff that I have. We live in a small house. We have a townhome. We don't have a big mansion, and I don't have 500 pairs of shoes, and I have the most comfortable ones that I keep. And I've spent a lot of money on some shoes so that they'll be comfortable, because I'm a speaker and I stand for 8 hours at a time. So yes, they're comfortable and they're expensive, and I have what I need. But now I'm not buying what I can afford. I'm buying what I need, right? Perfect. And that's the advice that I wish I'd given myself. It's not because you can that you have to, really, or that it makes sense. Really, come on. Like, there are things that are overpriced, and I pay for quality, and now I don't pay anymore for things that are just 'cause. It's really not, especially with the work that I do with children in Haiti. It's just against everything that. All the blood in my veins. It's not okay. It's not okay.
And I do think that there comes a point when we're younger, there's lots of shiny objects that we think we need or we think that we want. And we get to a point that we realize, well, those wear out too, you know, and I have to replace them. And really, I don't really need them. And to some extent, I don't even really want them. So I really wasted, a lot of my money in acquiring. I've been through that path too, so I get that what you're saying.
Things that are dated, and I remember I bought some outfits, that with the big shoulder pads. I can't even wear them anymore, and they were expensive, and I donated everything because they were just part of my learnings, and I've learned, and these things have served their purpose, and now I've learned, and I know better.
Yeah, good for you. So, and then one final question is, what piece of advice would you give your older self about money as you go into your future? What I would like to remind myself is to make sure that all the wealth that I'm generating is being used up at the end. So that I have taken care of my close ones. I have one of my parents were absolutely amazing. They brainwashed me into this positive person that I am. I'm very, very lucky for what they offered me and to believe in me and everything they've given me. So I want to make sure they're okay. So I want to make sure that I do spend money on them and on thanking them, and spend money on thanking and treating the people that I love and doing some good in the world. And I don't want to pack a U-Haul with me at the graveyard, like I don't really need anything. And I think I want to remind my older self that money is not... I've always had a good relationship with it, so it's just part of things like food. Like, we need it every day, and it's not. I'm not paying too much attention to it, and I really want to continue to remind myself, especially my older self, as I get older, as I get closer to retirement, and start worry about money or whatever. That I don't think that's going to happen to me because of the relationship I have with it, and I want to keep reminding myself that. That's not what makes us happy, and that's way beyond. It's not even what you do with the money. It's not even what you get with the money. It's how it makes you feel, and a feeling is free. A feeling is free, and you can always have this feeling independently of what you have and what you own and how much money is in your bank account. So, I think my older self will thank me for having been wise with investing properly and making the right choices as far as keeping me in that state of mind where
I can retire, I can move for 3 months a year on the coast of Spain or whatever, and be happy without having to worry about money, because money has been making money for me. And somebody like yourself is taking care of it so that they're good at what they do and I don't have to, because I'm an awesome coach. I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a great speaker and I'm a great author.
You sure are.
And somehow I don't need to be good with the specifics of what my money is doing for me, because some people are really good at that, like yourself, and then we should make sure that everybody's doing their best in their field. So somehow that, I think the biggest advice would be your wealth is in your head, really, and that it's a feeling, and if you can have that calm and that great feeling that you're going to be okay, and that everything worked out fine. That's what I want. I want for me in the end, that everything worked out fine.
Well, and your journey has been so insightful, because you started off earning, and you made some spending mistakes, let's say, and you learn from those mistakes, and you're doing the right things in order to readjust and learn and invest and prepare. And you are an awesome coach and great. So I feel so honored to have had this time with you. So thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for inviting me.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to the Cherry Blossom Cafe podcast. You can check out the notes below for links related to this podcast. If there is someone you'd like us to interview, we'd love to hear from you. Visit our website, lifestyleprotector.ca, for contact information and more episodes.